Alright, here's a quick little warm-up before we get started in our activity. Okay, just a quick little reminder of doing the distributed property. We're going to take the 3 and multiply it in. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times -2 is -6. Same with here. We're going to do x times x, and that's going to give me x squared. And then x times -9 is -9x. Remember here, this is what we did the other day. It's the box method. We're going to draw ourselves a box. Put x plus 5 on top. X minus 9 on the side. Remember, it doesn't matter what order you put those in. In each box, you're going to multiply. So this box is x times x, which is x squared. This box is x times 5, which is 5x. This box is -9x, because -9 times x is -9x. And then -9 times 5 is -45. And remember, we take these two to here and add them diagonally. So that gives me -4x. Then we take this x squared and write it in front, and this -45 and write it in back. And that's it. And then the last one here, just distribute again. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times -4x is -4x to the 3rd. And x squared times 5 is 5x squared. Okay, so that's just a quick reminder, a little warm-up to get us started. So today we're going to talk about factoring, and to do factoring we can work backwards to express a polynomial as the product meaning multiplication of polynomials. Factoring is rewriting an expression as a product of polynomials, so a multiplication of polynomials. Okay. The GCF, or the greatest common factor, is the largest factor that we have of the integers and polynomials involved. So that's just called the GCF, which you should be kind of familiar with. But we're going to review how to find the GCF of numbers first. Okay, to find the GCF of numbers, we're going to list all the factors of 12. Okay, which is 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and we have 3 and 4. Then we're going to list all the factors of 8, which would be 1 and 8, and 2 and 4. And we're going to look, which one's the largest? Well, the largest is here. It's 4. So our GCF is equal to 4. Same thing, we're going to do factors of 7. Okay, which is just 1 and 7. That's all that goes into it. And then here we got factors of 20. So it's 1 and 20, and 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. Well, the biggest number that's involved in both of these is 1. So that means our GCF is equal to 1. Same thing occurs when we have all three. Let's do the factors of 4 first. It's 1 and 4, and then it's going to be 2 and 2, so you don't have to write it once. Then we're going to do the factors of 12. So it's 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And then we got to do the factors of 26, which is 1 and 26, and 2 and 13. So which one is involved in all three of them? Well, we have a 2, a 2, and a 2. So that means our GCF is equal to 2. Same thing happens when we have 3 of them. We have 3 of them here. We have letters. But with the letters, what we do is we look for the one with the smallest exponent. So here the exponent of that one's 3, the exponent of that one's 7. So our GCF is the one with the 3. So it's x to the 3rd power. When we have numbers, we have to do numbers first, then letters. So we have to find the GCF of 6 and 4. Well, the GCF of 6 and 4 is 2. And then here we have x to the 3rd. That's our smallest exponent, so it's 2x to the 3rd. Same thing with the last one. Our GCF of the numbers is 3, because 3 goes into both. Our smallest x would be x, and our smallest y is y, so our GCF is 3xy. 3xy. Okay, we're going to do a couple of examples of factoring. So this is now factoring. Okay. The first thing we always deal with is the number. So what number goes into 15 and 100? The largest number that goes into both of those is 5. When we do that, we now divide. What's 15 divided by 5? That's 3. 100 divided by 5 is 20. Okay. Since they both don't have an x, we can't do anything else. So that's our final answer. Second one, what's the number that goes into both 8 and 4? That's 4. That's the largest one. 8 divided by 4 leaves me with 2. 4 divided by 4 leaves me with 1. Okay. In this case, they both have a letter. They have an m squared and an m. And we got to say which one is smaller, 2 m's or 1 m? It's this 1 m here. So we're going to take that 1 m and we're going to move it out here and write it next to the 4. So it's 4m times. Now, when we do that, we take away 1 m every time. So since we had 2, now we have 1. And since we had 1, now we have none. There is my factored form of that equation. And we're going to do another one. The number that goes into both 3 and 6 is 3, so we're going to take that out. 3 divided by 3 leaves me with 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. They both do have an x. They have an x squared and an x. The x is smaller, so that's the one that moves. So it's 3x. And remember, we take away 1 every time. So 2 minus 1 leaves me with 1. And 1 minus none leaves me with none. Once you get all of them, that's your final answer. Letter D is a little tricky because there's no number that goes into both 5 and 13. So we have to leave it the same. They both don't have the same letter. So we just leave it as is. That is your answer. That is as far as you can go with that one. Okay, when we expand it out, same thing happens. We look for a number that goes into 6, 9, and 12. That number is 3. So we divide. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. They all have this x. They have an x to the third, x squared, and x. The smallest one is this x, so that's the one that comes out. We remove 1 every time, so that's going to be now 2, 1, and none. And that's your final answer. Okay, the last one's got 2 letters. So we're going to need a number that goes into 14, 7, and 7. That's 7. And we divide. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 7 divided by 7 is 1. And again, 1. And we have to factor out. So now we look at each letter separately. So let's do the x's first. We have an x to the third, x squared, and x. Well, the smallest one is this x here. So it's 7x times, we remove 1 every time. So now this is x squared. This is x. And that's just 1y at the end. But now we also have the y that they all have. They all have 1y. So we're going to take that 1y out. And we're left with 7xy times. And we remove a y every time. So it's 2x squared plus 1x minus 1. Okay, so then go ahead and give that Math Excel a try.